So what are the new comic book series that are hitting shelves in May? Let's find out. All right, you guys, well, before we get into it, if this is your first time at the channel, please go ahead, do me a huge solid, hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. So this is my third video of this series. If you haven't checked out the past two videos, make sure you go back and check them out. But if you're unfamiliar with what I'm covering here, these are all the #1 issues. These are the new comic book series that are going to be hitting shelves for that given month that we're at. So for this month, for May, these are all those #1s. These are not ongoing series. I'm not going to be talking about Something is Killing the Children, number 20, whatever we're at. These are all new comic book series. These are those #1 issues. I'm going to break it out into starting off with Marvel. We'll then get into some DC and then finish off with our indie titles. So to start us off with Marvel for that first week in May, May 4th, we have Giant Size X-Men and Thunderbird is going to be getting his own series. We have Giant Size X-Men Thunderbird #1. This is being written by Steve Orlando and also Nyla Rose. And we have artist and variant cover artist David Cutler doing the illustrations on this book. There's two covers I'm seeing. I see a 1-in-10 by David Cutler, and then I also see a Kyle Charles variant. Other than that, I don't know if I'm going to take a stab at this series right off the bat. I may pick it up later on. It is a giant-sized issue. However, I am seeing a cover price for $4.99, so it's got that going for it. Next up for Marvel, we have Star Wars Obi-Wan #1. This doesn't really come as a surprise to me, given that we're going to be getting that new Obi-Wan Disney Plus series. But we have writer on this book, Christopher Cantwell. Artist is Ario Anindito. And I am counting quite a few covers. So with this #1 issue, you're going to have a vast array of covers to pick from. There's a 1-in-10 movie variant, which looks pretty nice, which obviously features Ian McGregor. We have a 1-in-25, which is being done by Anindito. And we also have a very nice Mike Mayhew variant, as well as a David Nakayama variant. This is going to be an exciting release for all these Star Wars comic books that we've been seeing. So I wouldn't necessarily be concerned about getting your hands on this issue, but I do think it's gonna sell pretty well, at least for the first few issues. And finishing off for that first week in May, we have Spider-Man 2099 Exodus Alpha #1. This is being written by Steve Orlando as well. Artist is Paul Fry. We have a lot of variants, no surprise. Spider-Man 2099, I feel like, is a big seller. We have Carrie Andrews doing a phenomenal looking cover here. Miko Suiyan has a variant, and Ken Lashley has a really awesome looking variant as well. I think I'm definitely going to be picking this one up. All right, moving on to that second week in May. May 11th, we have Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood #1. Yeah, I think everyone was predicting we were going to get a Moon Knight-centered Black, White, and Blood series. But this one is being written by Jonathan Hickman. We also have Mark Guggenheim doing some writing, as well as Muriwa Ayodele. And we have a handful of artists featuring Jorge Fornes, Chris Bachalo, and yeah, the list goes on and on. If you're familiar with the Black, White, and Blood series, I was a pretty big fan of the one they did for Wolverine. And considering we have Jonathan Hickman doing some of the writing on it, I think we should all be looking forward to it. You have, though, some really good-looking covers here. Bjorn Barends, my God, I'm so happy he's doing that cover right there. That looks freaking sweet. We have Gabriel Del Otto doing a cover, Miko Suiyan, and the list goes on. We have a 1-in-50 as well, and a 1-in-25 that you might want to check out. Next, we have Hulk vs. Thor, Banner of War Alpha #1. This is being written by Donny Cates, with him doing the current Hulk run. No surprise there. Artist is Martin Coccolo. I think I'm saying that right. And bunch of covers for this. Tyler Kirkman's doing a cover. Gary Frank is doing a cover. But honestly, I don't think I'm going to pick up this title. It's going to continue. The story is going to continue in Thor 25, it looks like. I'm not all caught up with Thor, so I think I'm going to skip out on this one. Donny Cates is writing it. If that's going to sell you on it, I get it, but it just doesn't seem like it's the one for me. Last up for that second week in May, we have Captain America Symbol of Truth, #1. Sam Wilson is taking on the mantle as Captain America here that you can see on just cover A. And we have writer here, Tony Onyebuchi, and I hope I didn't just butcher that. Tried. We also have, where's the artist? We have artist RB Silva. But I do like just the regular Coppola variant that I'm seeing here. If you're a collector of all the variants that Scotty Young does for Marvel, I think you're going to be happy with this one. You have Sam Wilson just talking to a Falcon. Pretty classic. But cover A looks decent as well. You have some choosing to do for the covers here. I think this one will be on, not sure if it will be on my pull list, but I definitely will grab it off the shelf the first week we get it. All right, first book up for that third week in May 18th, we have Savage Avengers #1, featuring none other than Conan the Barbarian. Yes, let's freaking go. We have writer David Pepose, and we have artist Carlos Magno. Not a ridiculous amount of covers, but we do get a 1 in 25. That looks pretty nice. We do get a 1 in 50 Carrie Andrews variant. I think it's a Carrie. Yep, it's a Carrie Andrews variant. And there is a really, really badass looking Albuquerque variant here as well. I, for one, can't wait to see how this title pans out. Only one more book from Marvel for that third week in May, and that is Marvel Voices Identity #1. We've gotten a lot from these Marvel Voices series in the last year, it seems like. So for this installment of Marvel Voices, it comes just in time for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And with that, we are getting an amazing lineup of Asian writers and artists doing this book here. And of course, we're going to get a focus on all of the amazing Asian characters that we have within the Marvel Universe. Miss Marvel, Mantis, Wong, Shang-Chi. But I think you've got to be pretty insane not to give this book a try here, especially after seeing some of these really nice variants that we're going to be getting. I would be surprised if you didn't want this one on your pull list. All right, wrapping up with our Marvel books for the month of May. For the last week in May, May 25th, kicking off, we have Legion of X #1. This is going to be another title that's going to give us a look into all the crazy shit that has been happening on Krakoa. Writer here we have Simon Spurrier. Artist is going to be Jan Bazaldua. And we have some really nice looking covers, a good amount too. One that just jumps off right at the bat is this Juggernaut Miko Suyan variant B that we're going to get. We're getting I just don't like these, they're usually 1 in 10s, these really generic looking variants that they have with just like the title front and center, and they just have a basic background. I don't know who's picking these up, and I don't know why they keep doing it. It's just not for me though. But regardless, we do get a nice 1 in 25 from Bob Quinn, and we're getting a 1 in 50 Lashley variant. This book looks like it's going to be featuring primarily Nightcrawler as the main character throughout the series. So if you're a big fan of that character, I don't see why you wouldn't pick up this book. Next up, we have Devil's Reign Omega #1. It's going to be featuring Daredevil and Elektra. It is a tie-in to Devil's Reign. A writer here is Chip Zdarsky. Artist is Rafael de la Torre. And just a few covers here. We have a 1 in 25 by Rod Reese, a 1 in 50, and we have a handful of other variants. If you're not reading Devil's Reign, I don't see why you would necessarily pick this one up, since you don't really know what's going on with that main storyline, because this is a tie-in, as I mentioned. If you don't really care, at least you have Chip Zdarsky writing on this book, so it's got that going for it. Next up for Marvel, we have Spider-Man 2099 Exodus #1. No, this isn't what I mentioned in that first week. The previous book that I mentioned was Spider-Man Exodus Alpha #1. This title is going to be written by Steve Orlando. Art is done by Dave Wachter. And it looks like the main difference here is this storyline is going to be primarily featuring Winter Soldier. The one I mentioned in that first week, we're going to have it featuring Ghost Rider. So it looks like they're going to switch up the stories a little bit, even though technically, yes, they're both Spider-Man 2099 Exodus titles. I hope, though, Steve Orlando is able to do a lot of different things with both of these titles. I might pick up both of them. We'll see. I think if there was one I was going to pick up, it would be this week's title, just the regular Spider-Man 2099 Exodus. I'm not sure if I'm sold on the Alpha, and Ghost Rider isn't one of my favorite characters. I think Nick Cage portraying him was freaking amazing, but Just have never been that big of a fan, but I also haven't read that many Ghost Rider comics, so maybe one day I'll become a huge Ghost Rider fan. Who knows? Overall, though, Winter Soldier has more of my interest, so I think this is going to be that title I pick up to start. But we'll see. Maybe I'll end up picking up both. All right, on to DC for that first week in May 4th. First book I have here is Flashpoint Beyond, number 1. This is being written by Jeff Johns, as well as Jeremy Adams and Tim Sheridan. Artist on this book is Zermanico, I think that's how you pronounce the name. And a handful of covers. The one that really jumps out to me is by Zermanico, and it's actually the variant cover. It's featuring Aquaman just choking out Batman for whatever reason. And I think that's telling us a little bit about what we can expect from the story. Overall, though, I'm looking forward to it, and this one is definitely going to be one I pick up. Final book for that first week in May, we have Nubia getting a spinoff, Coronation Special number 1. This is a special. It looks like it is going to be a larger size book of 48 pages at a $5.99 cover price. I'm not seeing it here, but I think we're only going to be getting one issue since it's a special. A lot of writers. It looks like it's going to be one of those anthology type comics where we have a bunch of different stories within it. And with all those writers, we have a bunch of artists as well, and a few covers here. I really do like cover A. I do see a 1 in 25 from Crystal Kung. That one looks really unique. And Joshua Swabby is doing a really nice looking cover as well in cardstock. And that cover is also going to come as a 1 in 100 Virgin variant as well. And now that I'm looking at it, no wonder I like cover A. That's being done by David Mack. Hell yeah. I'm definitely picking up cover A. I don't think you can go wrong with these variants we're getting as well. I'm really excited for this special. I liked what they did with the Nubia character in Wonder Woman to start off, and then getting her own series. I'm excited for this. All right, moving on to the week of May 11th, we have Jurassic League number 1. And looking at the synopsis here, it starts off by saying, you know what the story's about. I don't know what the story's about, actually. Somebody fill me in the comments. I've never read anything called Jurassic League before. All right, cool. Looks like we're getting a hybrid Superman Triceratops and a hybrid Wonder Woman Stegosaurus or something. I'm in. This is 1 of 6. So I guess we could technically call it a mini series. It's being written by Daniel Warren Johnson. Art is by Juan Gideon, and not too many covers. Cover A looks pretty badass. We also have a Juan Gideon cover B. It's going to be cardstock, as well as a 1 in 25 incentive by Walt Simonson. So this is the last book for that second week in May. I guess it really shouldn't count. It's Batman the Knight Compendium Edition number 1. Essentially, this is just taking all 3 issues of Batman the Knight and putting it into one thick issue. This is going to be 96 pages of all 3 of those issues, and it's going to have a $7.99 cover price. So I guess you technically will be saving some money. But yeah, if you haven't read that storyline, here's your chance. All right, moving on to the week of May 18th, we have just one title here, Shadow War Zone. Shadow War Zone. 2 words. Number 1. This is being written by Joshua Williamson, Ed Brisson, Stephanie Phillips, Nadia Shamas. The list goes on, as well as a bunch of artists featuring tales from the war zone. So we're getting an anthology, whether we like it or not. We're getting a couple nice covers here. One cover, though, that really caught my eye is this 1 in 25 that we're seeing. It's featuring a new villain by the name of Angel Breaker. Keep an eye out for this character. Could be a thing that lasts, or it could be a thing that is wrapped up within just this one anthology issue. We'll see. All right, just 2 more books from DC for that last week in May 25th. First one up, we have DC vs. Vampires Hunters number 1. Writer on this book is Matthew Rosenberg, and art is going to be done by Neil Gouge. I think I'm pronouncing that name right, hopefully. Vampires, I'm in. But if I wasn't in already, John Boy Myers is doing the cover A. Holy crap. I can't get enough of his covers. The one we had with Shadow War, wasn't it? That was freaking unreal. And we get this cover by John Boy Myers featuring Robin. The pros of a one-shot to me is it's just a giant nugget of a story that you can consume in one munch and be satisfied. But at the same time, sometimes you're not satisfied because maybe you really enjoyed it and you wanted more of it. I hope that's not the case with this. I hope it's just a popcorn comic where it's a fun ride, but then once it ends, it's like, okay, that was a good time. But we'll see. I think this one does have a lot of potential. I'm curious to find out. All right, last up from DC for the month of May, we have Batman Fortress #1. This one looks really interesting. Batman is going to be assembling the Justice League to counter an alien threat. It's being written by Gary Whitta, and art is by Derek Robertson. And we only have, I believe, 2 other variants. One is a really nice looking cardstock variant by Doali, and we also have a 1 in 25 Derek Robertson variant. If you know me, you know I'm the biggest Batman fan, but at the same time, geez, I feel a little overwhelmed with all of the Batman spin-offs and different series that DC is putting out. Batman, if not Superman, is their biggest character. I get it. But, geez, these last couple months, holy crap, I just feel like I'm getting punched in the face with a new Batman series every single week. I know I shouldn't be complaining, but I'm just curious. Is DC ever going to pump the brakes? Probably not. Am I going to buy this series? Probably. But yeah. Oh, man. It's a lot. All right, on to our indie titles for that first week in May 4th. To start us off with Image, we have Twig #1. This is being written by Scotty Young, and I would say this is probably the most highly anticipated indie series of the month, in my opinion. We have Kyle Stram doing the art here, and my God, are we getting a lot of variants. I don't think I've ever seen this many variants for an Image title before. Image is going all out on this one. And yeah, this character is really interesting looking. It has some Dark Crystal vibes, definitely. And Scotty Young being the writer on this, I'm really pumped up for it. Next, also by Image, we have Metal Society #1. This is being written by Zach Kaplan. Art is by Marco Lesko. And handful of covers. They have a 1 in 5. Don't see a lot of 1 in 5s. That's it. Cover E, 10 cop. There's a 1 in 10. So there's a 1 in 5, a 1 in 10, and a couple other covers. And this is going to be a sci-fi mini-series, and looks like we're going to have, in the description, it's saying Blade Runner meets Rocky. So I would guess that there is going to be some type of fighting with humans and AI, robots, whatever. If you're into that kind of stuff, why not pick this up? On to Aftershock Comics, we have Dogs of London #1. Only 2 covers here. I'm really liking what I'm seeing with cover A. This is being written by Peter Milligan, and art is by Artesita. Think I'm pronouncing that right. We're also getting the other cover is going to be a 1 in 15 incentive variant, it looks like. Again, that main cover, I'm going for that right off the bat. It's going to be surrounding the Dogs, which was one of the most feared gangs in London in the 60s. I think that's all we need to know here. That's all we need to really get an understanding of what we can expect. I've been really happy with a lot of the Aftershock titles that I've been picking up, so this is definitely going to be one on my list. Resuming that first week in May, we have a Boom Studios title, a Dune title. Dune: The Waters of Canley #1. 2 writers on this title. We have Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert, and artist on this title is Francisco Mortarino. Couple covers we have here. There is a really nice looking cover by In-Yuk Lee, and we're getting a Jung Gwen Yoon 1 in 25 variant. That looks pretty nice as well. Not sure if I would go for a 1 in 25 of just a Dune spin-off comic book series, but hey, that's just my opinion. If you are a Dune fan, I don't see why you wouldn't pick this up. I did really enjoy the movie. I've only gotten 3/4 of the way through the first book. I do like the universe a lot, and I did pick up the Dune House Atreides comic book series that released like last year or so, or whenever it was, and I really liked it. So I think I might give this one a try. And last up in that first week in May for indie titles is by Dynamite. We have Red Sonja, Red Sitha, #1. You can already tell that I do not read a lot, if any, Red Sonja. I've only read, to be honest, a few issues. Not really my character, but I get a lot of people love the character. I just really haven't given her a chance yet. Maybe I should. But this is being written by Mirka Andolfo, and I am a huge fan of Mirka Andolfo. So this might be the Red Sonja series I get into. Who knows? Art is going to be by Valentina Pinti, and hell yeah, we get a really nice looking Mirka Andolfo variant cover. I do like that main cover a lot too. Let's check these out. We get a Pinti cover, which looks pretty cool. A cosplay cover, cover E. I guess that I feel like I've been seeing that a lot more, where they're just getting a bunch of cosplayers and taking pictures and making that the cover. We're going to get a 1 in 25, a 1 in 10. Yeah, there's going to be a crap ton of covers for this. So if you're looking forward to this series, you're going to have a lot of covers to choose from. Again, Mirka Andolfo doing this. I'm pumped up for it. All right, and resuming our indie titles for that second week in May 11th, we have 8 Billion Genies, #1. And this is being written by Charles Soule, and art is done by Ryan Brown. So this team I was a big fan of when they were doing Curse Words. And by the looks of it, this title is going to be within that fantasy genre. And thinking back to Curse Words, I think this is a perfect book for that Soule and Brown team up. And I just cannot wait for this one. And it looks like we're going to be getting a few covers here. And one of them I'm looking at right now is this cat that has popped up in a bunch of Ryan Brown's variants in other books. I don't know what the whole cat thing is. I don't know if that's his cat, but that's pretty hilarious. And yeah, we're getting a Curse Words variant by Brown as well. I actually have that cover for Curse Words. That was one of their incentives that they did while they were releasing that title. And yep, Jenny Frison is going to be getting a cover on this title too. I cannot wait for this. It's definitely going to be one I pick up. All right, next by Boom Studios, we have Grimm #1. This is being written by Stephanie Phillips, and art is done by Flaviano Armentaro. And there's not a lot in the description here telling us what the series is going to be about. All I'm seeing is it's saying Jessica Haro is dead, but her journey has only just begun. I think a lot of people, though, are asking themselves, with it being a Boom Studios title, could Jessica Haro be that next Erica Slaughter from Something is Killing the Children? I doubt it. I think we should be confident, though, that this series is going to do well, though. Stephanie Phillips has done a lot of amazing things in comic books recently. And yeah, I don't know if we can necessarily say it's going to be on the level of Something is Killing the Children, but I wouldn't be surprised if some really good things come out of this series. Next, from Aftershock Comics, we have Bunny Mask, The Hollow Inside #1. Bunny Mask, the original title from Aftershock, was outstanding. Make sure you go ahead and check that out if you haven't done so. This is going to be written by Paul Tobin, and art is by Andrea Muti. A couple nice looking covers here. We're going to be getting a 1 in 15 Raphael Albuquerque variant. And we're also going to be getting an Andrea Muti mask variant. That's going to be the cover B. I think I might go for that one. With it not being an incentive, you most likely won't have to pay more. You might have to notify your shop that you want that cover. But yeah, that's going to be the one I'm on the lookout for. Overall, I will be picking up this series. All right, there are a lot of books for the week of May 11th for indies. Resuming this list, we have IDW doing Transformers Last Bot Standing #1. I don't read a lot of the Transformer comics. I feel like there's an oversaturation with IDW doing them, but I get it. A lot of people love the whole Transformers franchise, and that's great. But the writer on this is going to be Nick Roche. Artist is EJ Su, and we're going to be getting a few variant covers. Again, though, this isn't for me. However, yeah, if you are a Transformers fan, you're going to be getting a new series here. Next up from Dynamite, we have Vampirella Strikes #1. Writer on this title is Tom Sniegoski, and artist is Jonathan Lau. Lucio Perillo is doing the cover A here, and I looking at all these covers, I think that one actually looks the best. We do get a lot of different variants and a lot of incentive variants here. I'm not going to list them all, but I'll post a few. And if you're a big fan of Vampirella and you're going to be picking up a lot of different covers for this, along with cover A, you might want to consider just the Virgin variant of cover A by Perillo. Looks really nice, but there are just a ton here that look really badass. This is another character that's not really my thing yet. Maybe I'll get into her down the road. So I don't know if I'm going to be picking up this series. We'll see. With things like this, I usually wait till issue 3 or 4 comes out and see if people are talking about it or just look at reviews online. But most likely, I'm going to have to wait on this one. Next, from Dark Horse Comics, we have Tales from Harrow County, Lost Ones, #1. This is being written by Cullen Bunn, and art is by Emily Schnall. And we only get one other cover for this. And I know a lot of people are huge fans of what Cullen Bunn did with Harrow County. I have not caught up on the story, so I don't think I'm going to jump right into this. I'm going to have to catch up on the original series. But yeah, if you are a fan, this one should be for you. Next, from Dark Horse, we have Jenny 02, #1. If you read the initial series, it's being written by the same team here, Dave Dwank and Brockton McKinney, and art on this book is done by Magenta King. Nothing indicating here how many issues we're going to get in this volume 2 of Jenny 0, and only one cover, but if you're a fan of that original series, you have this to look forward to. I told you guys there were a lot of books for the second week in May from Indies. This is the last title, though, for the May 11th week. We have Code 45, issue #1, and this is going to be by Scout Comics. Brand new series, brand new story. We have this being written by Benjamin Hunting, and art will be by Joe Ning. Only one cover for this. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily sold yet. It's going to be about, I guess, these teenagers fending off dragons that are lurking beneath the grounds of Montreal. So if this looks appealing to you, go for it. I'm just not sure that I will. All right, moving on to that third week in May for May 18th. From Image Comics, we have I Hate This Place #1. This is being written by Kyle Starks, which I believe he did some work on the previous Rick and Morty series. Other than that, I'm not too familiar with any of his other titles that he's done. So I'm not necessarily sold on this yet. We're only going to be getting one cover for this, and it looks like it's going to be focused on these two characters here on the cover, where they inherit this house that attracts a bunch of supernatural beings. We'll see how this one plays out. And next, from Dark Horse Comics, we have Shaolin Cowboy, Cruel to Be Kin, #1. This is being written by Jeff Darrow, and art is done by Dave Stewart. A few different covers here. I guess this is phase 4 of the Shaolin Cowboy universe, which I know absolutely nothing about. But if you're caught up to date on this title, fill me in. Let me know in the comments how it is. I just can't really tell you much about it. But yeah, 2 other covers we're seeing here, 2 other variants. That's all I got for you. All right, and now from Aftershock Comics, we have Spectro #1. This is being written and drawn by Juan Doe. It looks like this title is going to be horror focused and have 4 different parts throughout it. We're getting a few other covers here that look pretty awesome. We get a 1 in 10, as well as just another variant, which you can get as a Virgin exclusive. I believe this is a one-shot. Could be wrong, but there is an $8 cover price, so I think we're just getting an anthology type of story here. But for all of those horror fans out there, you might want to consider this one. All right, now on to the final week in May for our indie titles. Releasing May 25th. First one up here from Vault Comics, we have Fox and Hare #1. This is written by Jonathan Sui, and art is by Stacy Lee. Looks like we're going to be getting some futuristic steampunk vibes. I don't know if these characters, Fox and Hare, have existed in another series. I don't think so. It looks like this is going to be the premiere issue, but this could be a sleeper comic. I think I might give this one a chance. Next up from Image Comics, we have Unnatural Blue Blood #1. Mirka Andolfo is the primary creator on this. Looks like she's going to mainly be doing the writing. She will have a cover, but she won't be doing the art. Art is going to be done by Ivan Bigarella. Stepan Sajic, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is getting a cover. It's a 1 in 10 by Sajic, and we also get a nice Momoko 1 in 50 variant on this title. I'll most likely be just picking up cover A, which looks to be done by Mirka Andolfo. And overall, just with her doing another title, I was a huge fan of Mercy, Sweet Paprika. If you're not familiar with Mira Gandolfo's work, make sure you go and check out some of her previous books. I think you'll really enjoy them. But if this is the first title you're picking up of hers, I'll be surprised if you're let down. I think it should be good. Moving on to Dark Horse Comics, we get another Hellboy series, Hellboy and the BPRD, Night of the Cyclops, #1. Writer on this book is Oliver Vatine, as well as Mike Mignola. We're getting one other variant cover for this, but again, Hellboy fans, rejoice. All right, and ending our whole wrap-up of the new comic book series that are releasing in May, we have from Dark Horse Comics, Pearl 3, #1. This story is continuing to be written by Brian Michael Bendis and art by Michael Gaydos. I am not caught up on this title at all, so I can't really tell you much about it, unfortunately. But I can tell you we're getting one other variant, and it's by Peach Momoko, and it looks really, really awesome. If this is a series that you've been into, and for people that are not familiar with it, it looks to be like it's about this main character who is a tattoo artist and is discovering a bunch of secrets about the Yakuza gang. And I believe she was actually born into a Yakuza family. And instantly I'm thinking of the Tokyo Vice series that HBO dropped. I think it was like last month or whatever. I'm catching up on it, but it is freaking sweet. If you do watch a lot of television and you have the HBO Max streaming service, go check that out. So maybe I'll get into this. Maybe I'm going to jump back and get into that first installment of Pearl. And Brian Michael Bendis is writing it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's really good. All right, on to my recommendations for the month of May. For that first week, May 4th, I'm going to have to give it to Twig #1 from Image Comics, being created by Scotty Young. This was an easy pick. I am so hyped for it. Moving on to the second week in May, May 11th, I'm going to have to give it to Grimm #1 by Boom Studios, being written by Stephanie Phillips. On to the third week in May, for May 18th, gotta give it to Marvel's Savage Avengers #1, Conan the Barbarian assembling a team. Hell yeah. And for that last week in May, I'm going to have to give it to DC. More vampires, please. We have DC vs. Vampires Hunters #1. It's a one-shot. It looks badass. Should be a lot of fun. And it has this awesome cover A by John Boy Myers. Whew. Guys, well, that was it. That wraps up all of the new comic book series that are going to be hitting the shelves at your LCS this May. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. I don't think I did. I covered off on a lot of new titles coming out, especially those indies. Holy crap, we're getting a lot in May. But I want to hear from you. Let me know what you're excited for. Maybe what I don't know much about that I should look into. I know there's a lot of books here that I listed off that I'm not caught up on. Leave a comment below. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But I hope you enjoyed this video and look forward to seeing you back here next month. Till then, peace.